Hi guys, welcome back to snt-networks. In today's video, we'll be discussing about another important topic in the cybersecurity space, that is identity and access management. So first of all, we'll break it down into two parts. Correct? What is identity? Correct? Who are you? Correct? Access management. What access do you have? Simple. If you break it down into two things, you will never be confused between identity access management and any of the concepts. Just make sure you keep it as basic as possible always. Okay. So it's identity and access management. Who are you? How do you tell who are you while trying to uh, log in into a system? Correct. It's like AAA in networking. Okay. Basically same as AAA. Okay. So so we have identity access management. Who are you? How do you tell them? Using credentials. You put in your credentials and then you get access. Then what sort of access do you have? What is this based on? Again, your creds. Correct. So you might have seen, you know, basically in movies at CIA, somebody will tell that, okay, I have Z access, I have Y access. That's the level of access. Okay. You can see A, B, C up to X, Y, and Z. Somebody has this, somebody has this. That depends on the level of clearance or level of access. That is again access management, the level of access that you have. Okay. So these concludes the two simple things. Now let's go into detail and find out what exactly is identity access management. And like we do in our videos, we'll talk about why do we need it, how do we use it, and where do we use it. So yeah, let's get started. So by definition, identity and access management is a framework of policies and technologies that ensures the right individuals or entities have appropriate access to technology resources. Okay, how do we explain it? Like I told you, you are a user trying to access a certain this is a firewall trying to access a certain server. Correct? You try to log in. You try to send a request to this firewall, to the server. Correct? But then it lands on the firewall. You enter your credentials, or basically SSO in simple, network terms. So we do SSO, but for our new users who are not into networking, are basically into this itself, what do you call identity access management? Simple part is you try to log in. Okay, but your request will not land on the server. It will land on a firewall before that. So once you try to take access, correct, and you try to give in your credentials. So once you put in your creds, okay, what will happen is if you are a correct user, if you're authorized, I mean you're authenticated user, you have your correct credentials, you are authenticated. But then it will see what is the level of access you have on the server. Level of access again can be A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Okay. Accordingly, it will give you access. So it has authenticated properly access X. Okay. So you get your access back. So this is basically how your identity access management works. Like I told you, it is both authentication and authorization. Plus, later on from the logs, either here or here, we will do audit. You do audit reports, right? That is what it is. So identity access management is basically based on four A's. Okay. The first one, it is based on authentication. You can say the first one is based on access. Access, authentication, authorization, or you can say, yeah, authorization. And the last one is audit. Now, what is access? So if you're a new user, if you come into a company and you're a new user, your account will need to be created, right? So usually how they will create your account is when you are new to a company. So if you are a person, okay, you join a company. So this is a company. You have a lot of people here. Will they give you access similar to all those people? No, right? And then what do they do? So this is a company. Part of this company, like let me say, this is your company. Okay. But then in this company, you're part of this specific team. Okay. So by default, the AD administrator, so all the access and your basically your account will be created in the AD. Either it can be, you know, any sort of AD that they have, but usually it is AD Active Directory itself. So in that one, they'll create your account. So once your account is created in Active Directory, they will basically create it next to this group. Okay, basically within this group. So you're a part of this team. So now you basically become a part of this team. So whatever minimal access they have, right, there will be a baseline of access they have. Okay. After that, some may have clearance up to X, some may have lower level clearance up to A. But this is the baseline that everybody will have. So they will basically map you here, correct? You create your account, so you're authenticated. But for authorization, they will give you this level of clearance. So you will have, for example, if this has clearance of Y, so they will give you Y level of clearance. After that, if you need, excuse me, any other access, you can basically go ahead and raise for it. So usually in IT or other corporate, what you do is you raise a ticket, and your manager will approve accordingly. And then the AD team will map you to a different team also. So it can be you are a part of this team, correct? But you are also a part of this team. Other people who have access to two applications. Basically, you can say that this one has application access to an application A. This has access to application B. So you have access to application both. Okay, simple. So now let's go over the theoretical part. Like key components are identification, basically establishing and verifying the identity of users, that is authentication, like I told you, correct? The device are usually username, user ID, password information like name, role, department, correct? This can be again, usually it's your credentials, but then it can be smart cards, correct? And then your user IDs, all of that. Okay. Then you have attributes like role, department, location. Again, like I told you, this is the team you are working in. In this team, this could be working in Bangalore. This could be working in Mumbai. In Mumbai, this team basically sits on this and this place. So accordingly, we will basically, add you in that location. Then you have, so this is what do you call the identification, like access. So they will put you in a certain team. Then you have authentication. So you have passwords, you have multi-factor authentication, and you have fingerprints, facial recognition, wire recognition. You can also say smart cards. You need smart cards to go into the office, right? And what is multi-factor authentication? Like usually it's password plus fingerprint, or password usually is password plus OTP. Okay, you put in your password, but then either you'll see a pop-up in your authenticator app, or you will also see a this thing. What do you call OTP? Correct. You have to enter that. Usually basic is password. Okay, then you have authorization. Then how does the authorization work? Authorization is basically role based. Like I told you, a certain people or a certain group, you can call it a certain role. If you are mapped to a certain role, you will get access to a certain application. Just remember this, very simple. And then if you are mapped to a certain role, this role R2, you get mapped to a certain application. This is how basically it works. So accordingly, when they add you, this will correspond to authorization. Accordingly, when they add you in certain group, certain roles, basically using that you will get authorization. And like I told you about release privilege, that baseline they will always give you. After that, you can basically go ahead and access for more. Okay. And then access control list. This will be on the firewall. So it will basically impose the ACLs. It will give you all the AD also, depend on the type of AD you use Azure or whatnot. Then you have provisioning, automatically creating, modifying, deleting user accounts and access based on the changes of employee status. Correct. So I basically included this in access. Once the employee joins the company, you create the account. Correct. But once the employee is leaving the company, so it is again as per the company. Basically, in banks, what we do is within 7 days or within 3 days, some this within 2 days, like they have different timelines for that. You have to remove the account. You have to delete and remove the account to make sure no trace is left, so that nobody can use those credentials to log in. Okay, so you are part of this group. not anymore. You get removed. Okay. So it is again based on business needs, but again the same thing. If within a company you change the what do you call team, you go to a different team. So now once you are a part of this team, but now you are part of different team. So this access will go. This access has to go within a certain timeline. Okay. So this is basically identity and access management. Now we'll talk about the benefits. What are the benefits of it? The benefits are policies and procedures, establishing and enforcing security policies, correct, to make sure right user has right access. So if a user has to use an application A, it gets an application A. But if user does not need application BC, why is it using BC? Does not make any sense. It adds to more security compliance. So you should not basically give access. Then we have auditing and monitoring, tracking user activity, suspicious behavior. This is again basically in governance and administration, but I basically always add it to audit, right? Why do we add it to audit? Because after you have done it, so even banks and companies and IT firms, what they will do is after you have went ahead and use it every 3 months or 6 months, they will have an internal audit or external audit. In that audit, they will check your logs, what exactly have you used and what exactly have you done. If you don't need access to B, if you have not used application B in last 6 months, they will ask you if you really need it or not. Then you can say, okay, it was project based, it was my project, so I was not using it, this and that. But if you don't need it, they will remove your access to it. Okay. This is again a good way of tracking. So audit is always a good way of tracking. Now we come to the benefits IAM. So benefits is basically enhanced security, reduce risk of unauthorized access, data breaches, and cyber attacks because you continuously monitor. Correct. Improve productivity, streamline users access and reduces IT support burden. You give users access to what they need. Correct. Nothing more. That is why it's good. Improve productivity, streamlines user access and reduces IT burden. Correct. Then we have increased compliance. Help organizations comply with industry regulations and data privacy standards. Correct. And then you have better what do you call control because see all the data in the company will be sensitive to you. What you do is you map resources accordingly, you give authorization accordingly. Correct. So you have better control always. Then you have uh, examples of basically identity access management. Like I told you, you can use an AD, you can use Azure, you can use Okta. This will be again SSL. Usually we use SAML, sorry. And then you have ping identity cloud based, like it's again SSO and stuff we'll use, but SSO will again be a part of multi-factor authentication. Correct. SSO mostly we will use with multi-factor authentication because with only with creds, like it's not safe. So like on the next line itself, we have written multi-factor, but yeah, SSO is again a separate term, basically where you log into one application and you don't have to, you get lateral movement also. So you don't have to log in into multiple applications. Once you log in into one, you get by default using tokens, you get access to other servers as well or other applications as well. So this is a bit about identity access management. I hope this was helpful. And in the next video, we'll try to talk about application. We'll just talk about using identity access management, talk about application and feature onboarding. Correct. This is again into a bit of cybersecurity space, to be honest. Correct. So in SNT, I think we are trying to explore and expand. So let me know if you want me to discuss about something in particular. We'll definitely do that as well. And I'm also setting up my lab. In it, we'll discuss about SD-WANs, firewalls, VPNs, and all of that. Like you guys already told me, we'll definitely talk about that, Cisco Meraki and other things as well. So about this one, now we have for the next 2, 3 videos, we're moving in this direction. I hope this was helpful. Thank you, and yeah, have a good day.